Okay, good day, Dexter. Coach Anthony here from My New Australian Life. All right, how are you?
I'm very good. How are you as well?
Well, I'm very well. So thank you for taking your time. I do really appreciate your time to have a post chat with you after your, PTE journey. So yeah, how was your PTE journey with My New Australian Life?
Well, I cannot say it's easy. Definitely, it's challenging in some ways, but of
Mhm.
course, with perseverance and being resilient about the challenges, anyway, I believe anyone could pass as long as you set aside a specific amount of time, like every day. Just make it a habit, like even like for 30 minutes
Mhm.
every day or 1 hour. It depends on your schedule. Just practice and practice.
Mhm.
Small steps can definitely go a long, long way.
All right. So, what are the challenges that you have encountered between your work, your career, and at the same time your preparation for your actual PTE test?
Yeah, it just so happens that it came to a time that I had a lot of things that I have to do with work. So I am left at most just to do most of my time. I have to set aside like 1 hour at night when
Mhm.
everyone is also like asleep, since it's also a challenge since I work from home. It's not only me. There's my kids that using the computer, and so at least I have to get a specific time where everyone is
Mhm.
quiet and I can focus on what I'm doing. So I mean, everything, as long as you set a specific time and make it a habit, and that the discipline that you have, that you will do it regardless of how tired you are. You just have to keep on doing it. Then
Mhm.
eventually, yeah, you'll be able to feel what you need to do.
Mhm. All right. So, can you share some of your motivation of of taking the actual PTE test or getting your target score?
Well, to be honest, my motivation was mostly my kids, thinking about the future it may bring us. The first step is, of course, taking the test. So pretty much when I see them and to see if I see as a long-term goal, what could be achieved after taking this test. So
Mhm.
basically, that's more my motivation. What will be the future can hold for us when we live in, for example, if you get to go to Australia, then yes, that's a like free medical, free school. That's a huge thing.
Mhm. So, how do you manage your practice test and your coaching sessions? And how do you think those practice tests and coaching sessions have helped you to go beyond your target score?
Well, the practice test definitely help because you get a feel of what to expect in the test. So when you're doing the practice test, you get to somehow expect what's coming up next, what's the sequence of the test. It gets you're mentally prepared what to expect.
Mhm.
For example, after reading aloud, you know it's gonna be repeat sentence. So your state of mind it gets you there. But the concern with the practice test, like the mock test, is they don't really give you where you made a mistake. They will just give you the result at the end. So that with that it said, I believe coaching is needed because they pretty much would know where you might have lacked, why you have scored that way in the mock test.
Mhm.
So by recording the test as well and everything, you'll be able to see or grasp where you're struggling. So at least
Mhm.
you would know where you can focus instead of just focusing on everything. You just have to figure out where your weaknesses are.
All right. And one of your weaknesses, what sub test do you find it really challenging to approach amongst the four sub tests: speaking, reading, writing, and listening?
Well, I did really find it challenging in terms of writing. Um, it's just because I have a struggle when focusing on just one single idea. So
Mhm.
the difference between what I have watched before and with the coaching that you provided me is that you don't rely on templates. It's better to rely on a structure. It's like a flow. Instead of memorizing things, you will just have to make sure that you follow your structure that they have taught you. Be open-minded. That's what I say.
Mhm.
For example, if you think you're already used to this kind of technique, but it's not working, you be sure to be open-minded and listen to your coaches. They will know best.
All right. So, how about the level of difficulty of the actual test versus to the level of difficulty of the practice test? In the scale of 10 to 90, or should I say, okay, let's make it general. In the scale of 100, 0 to 100, what is the relativity of the practice test difficulty to the actual test difficulty?
Actually, to be honest, I think the practice test is much more difficult rather than the
Okay.
actual test.
Yeah. And what
Makes you,
scores?
yeah.
Sorry to cut you off. What scores do you get in the practice test? Despite that you said it's quite difficult as opposed to the actual test.
Well, not really about the scores. I guess maybe about the sample questions that they have.
Mm-hmm.
There was a time that I think I struggled with the rearranged paragraph.
Mm-hmm.
So some examples, like it's not that easy. They don't really use transitions. It's quite tricky picking which is
Exactly.
the first paragraph. But come exam, it's kind of, I'm not sure, maybe I got a easy exam, or maybe it's just
Okay.
because of practice, but I think it's a bit easier than what is expected.
Mm-hmm. All right. Okay. So, can you share some tips and strategies to get their target scores for those who are aiming for 65, 50, 65, or 79?
Well, my tip is always to aim higher than what you're supposed to, and that
Mm-hmm.
way you're um, even if you fall short, you will still be within your range. Another tip is always to practice. If you see you're struggling, for example, for fill in the blanks, just make sure that you do more fill in the blanks question. If you're
Mm-hmm.
struggling with writing, then what I can suggest is read a lot of articles so that you
Mm-hmm.
can get used to the words that they use, how they transition their ideas, how the flow would work, how it makes it everything coherent. Um, but yes, basically it's still, yeah, the discipline that you have to set aside, set amount of time. If it's just 30 minutes every day, as long as you have the discipline to do it, you should
Mm-hmm.
be. Everyone can make it, I believe.
Okay. How about the coaching session? How often do they have to book a coaching session with their respective coaches?
Well, yeah, for that one, I think you have to be honest with yourself. If
Mm-hmm.
you think you're having a hard time just doing practice tests, you need a bit of guidance, then I suggest maybe the first 2 weeks you get twice a session. But if not, if it's just more on reinforcement or reminder, or just to see that, just give you a bit of assurance, maybe once a week is still is enough.
Okay. All right. How about tips to get 90? Is it really your motivation to get a perfect score, or what? What's the catch?
To me, getting a 90 is, I mean, for any besides PTE, I always aim for the highest score that I can get. But
Mm-hmm.
to me, it's a personal achievement, and it's also see how long you've gone. So for instead of just aiming for just passing, always aim for higher. You'll
Mm-hmm.
never know, even if you don't need the points, it still has some extra points that could help you a long way. And basically, the PTE is not just for migration; it's something that could help you throughout your life. It's not
Mm-hmm.
something that you will just do one time. It's still, you will still be using it forever. Since you're going there, might as well do what you and improve while you still can.
All right. Any words of encouragement to those PTE candidates who will be taking their exams and those who are losing a bit of their hope because there might be there might be falling a bit short with their practice score tests results.
I guess what tip for me is don't panic. Even if, for example, you were not hitting your score in the practice test, don't pressure yourself. The first time I took the test, I pressured myself that, for example, I was struggling in writing and I was only given 10 or 20 minutes. Instead of giving yourself 10 or 20 minutes for the writing, what you have to do is focus on how to make an essay, even how long it takes. Then
Uh-huh.
eventually you will get there. If you keep on practicing, you will be able to do it in a much shorter time. So don't pressure yourself at first. Just make sure you get the feel of it first. And right before the test, I don't suggest cramming. I suggest you take for that day, at least be calm. Just keep calm. Don't think about much about the test until you're there. Just
Uh-huh.
do just do something that you could help you focus. I believe that's one of the tips as well. Aside from doing practice tests, you have to practice focusing, because once you're near the exam room, it's not you're the only one there. You can hear everyone else, so sometimes your focus might go away, especially when in the reading. Another example is, for example, when doing the best summary. It's a tricky part for me because almost all of the answers seem correct. So if you were not able to listen or read properly, you might choose the wrong answer. So it's best to focus. Don't really mind. I think the time that they give is actually sufficient. Most of the time, we will finish way beyond the time given. So don't keep on checking the time. Just check once. For example, if you have like 30 minutes and you see that the questions is around 18, just give yourself around 2 or 3 minutes for the things that you think you're struggling, and for the rest, just like takes like less than a minute. You will be able to go through with it.
All right, good. All right, cool. Can you share your experience the day before the actual test and on the day of your actual test? So, what did you do? You could also share your test day experience as well. What's the test center, testing room? Is it true that there's really an uncontrollable noise and the likes? Yeah.
Yeah. So the day before the test, I don't suggest doing the mock test the day before, because if you get a low score, you might panic on the day itself. So just do a bit of practice. What I do usually, when it comes to, I usually learn by writing. For example, what I need to take in. For example, I just keep on writing my key points. Like I have for writing, I have to make sure that I have like keywords for the summarized written text. Just make sure that you get some keywords. You don't need to really provide details. So that's what I keep on writing. So to remind myself, don't astray from your plan. So draw up a plan for yourself, what you plan to do. In terms of speaking, even if you missed out, I believe I missed out a word or two, even for the describe image. I might have missed out a bit of things, but as long as you're confident, make sure you speak well, and don't stutter. So that's why being calm, it will still give you the score, especially for writing. As long as you speak, if you missed out a word, it's fine. Just continue. Don't panic. Just move on to the next question. Then, as for the experience itself on the test day, once I do suggest to come there as early as you can, not really 30 minutes, possibly an hour before. Like for me, when I took the test, it was raining and it was hard to get a grab car. So it's a good thing that I planned to go at least. I gave myself 2 hours allotment, so that you won't panic. Even if it won't cause you panic if you think you're gonna be late. So it's best to be calm before the test. Then when you go to the venue, I don't really suggest talking to a lot of people. Just keep to yourself first, because you might, if they're worried or they're seem like, you might get their feeling.
Yes, get attached to their feelings, same vibe.
So I suggest, if you want to talk to them, you can just talk to them after the exam. So everything, the testing center is actually, they're accommodating. They will tell you the steps and whatnot. Make sure, a tip as well is, don't wear too much jewelry, because they will ask you to take everything out. Just bring your essentials, whatever it is. It's just your ID. That's it. I think just ID will suffice. If you're those kinds of persons that feel cold, I suggest bringing a jacket.
All right. Okay.
Then
carry on.
That's about it. But about the test, it's once you're there, just focus. Don't mind anyone. Just black out everyone else. As far as the equipment, I think all of the equipment is okay based on my experience.
So overall, how would you rate your PTE journey with My New Australian Life in the scale of 100?
I'll give it 100.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, so thank you so much, Dexter, for your time. We do really appreciate your time, and we believe your experience, the tips and strategies that you've shared would definitely help not only the upcoming test takers for PTE academic, but also those who are preparing themselves for their actual test. And yeah, that's all for now. And we hope for the best, all the best for your next migration process.
Thank you
All right.
very much. Thank you very much, Coach.